Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Boerne Brew here on Boerne Radio, 103.9 FM and 1500 AM. And also, you can listen on the Boerne Star and Boerne Radio websites. I'm the host of today's show. My name's Carrie Barboza, and I'm the sports editor of the Boerne Star. And, well, the new school year is underway, and it's been going for a few weeks now. We have cross-country, water polo, team tennis, volleyball, and, of course, the big one, high school football, starts this week. And Boerne ISD has all 5 of those sports going, and joining us to talk about the new school year and all those sports is Boerne ISD Athletic Director Stan Leech. Coach Leech, thank you for being a part of the show.
Well, thank you, Kerry.
Well, I mentioned all those 5 sports, and the thing is, Boerne ISD is pretty good in all of those. One school or another has done really well, and you think of cross-country, you know, the boys got to state last year. The first year at 5A, they finished second as a team. Then, of course, at Champion, you have Elizabeth Leachman winning the state title for the second year in a row, and she's national champion as well. So let's talk about cross-country. I know that's your background. You ran it in college and coached it for a while, track and cross-country, and you don't still run, do you?
I don't. I walk. I'm trying to get about 12,000 steps a day. That's hard to do in this heat and in once school starts. But no, I'm just a walker now.
So I know cross-country has a special place in your heart, doesn't it? I know you like to go to the state meet, and Boerne's historically done well. I think of all the state championships, I think about half, if you count both schools, about half seem to be cross-country.
Well, yes, we've been very fortunate. Started in 03, and then we won again in 04. Dave Fulkerson coached all those, and he was kind of the foundation, but also the school size was getting where we could do a little bit of everything. But I do love cross-country. I ran at South Plains Junior College and then ran at Tarleton.
Yeah, you mentioned Fulkerson. He was called the legend among some of the coaches.
Yeah.
And he won, I think, 6 state titles before he retired. 2 at Boerne High. He was the first at Boerne High to win 1, and then he was the first at Champion. He won 4 at Champion. Then he won a national title in there at the Nike Nationals. He took first place. And we honored some of the cross-country teams at the Hall of Honor last fall. And we're going to talk about the Hall of Honor because we got a new class coming up. It's got a tennis theme, but we'll talk about them in a little bit. But also, a sport that's pretty new to the fall is water polo. I think this is the 4th year for water polo. It's hard to believe that it's been that many years. But
it is. It's crazy. We got 2nd, and then last year in 24, we got 3rd. Coach Slay is our new assistant athletic director of aquatics, and he's our coach at Champion, and also pivoting to Boerne. With Coach Cheeves there, Brandon Cheeves.
Yeah, he's a Greyhound graduate.
He sure is. He graduated, I believe, in 07.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And may have been 08. He's done a great job and has a great attitude toward swimming and water polo. But the Charger boys have a chance to win the region again, and then their girls are doing well.
The girls won the region last year, and that was the first time they'd made it to state. And then you mentioned Boerne High. They didn't have a water polo till last year, and then you brought in Coach Cheeves. First year last year, and I was at some matches. Some growing pains there, but I've seen them play this year. They look a lot better. They're much improved, especially on the girls' side. I think the girls have a chance at a playoff spot this year.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, his attitude has been tremendous. He's recruited people from other sports, and it's something that this is only our 2nd year and Champion's 4th. We didn't start water polo at Boerne till they became 5A.
Right.
There was not a need till that.
Yeah, and before that, Coach Slay, he would coach both swim programs, and then, of course, when Boerne adds water polo, he can't coach both because they're playing against each other. So how would you coach that? Well,
that's when we started, and that's when we needed also Boerne to have their own swim coach.
Right. And team tennis, we talked about ISD Hall of Honor. It's going to have a tennis thing. Like I said, we'll talk about them later, but you have Champion and Boerne High have both done well over the years in team tennis. Champion made it to state, I think it was 2 years ago when Joey Cantu took the team out to Waco to play at state. And then Boerne High, they almost won it a few years ago. Came down to the last match. It came down to the last few players. They were that close, and I thought they had it. I thought they were going to win gold. But Boerne's done well at 4A, but they've come up to 5A. But they've done pretty well at 5A as well.
They've held their own, and Coach Tyson Stewart does a tremendous job. He had lived here, and then he was at Northside but I'm very fortunate. The greatest thing for an athletic director is when everybody's happy with team tennis. And Coach Cantu and Coach Stewart have just done a tremendous job of taking those two programs. And it's a hard sport to coach. And the good ones make it look easy, and both of them make it look easy.
When you think about team tennis, it's a lot different than in the spring where it's the individual part. There's up to 19 matches in team tennis. So they play 7 doubles matches to start, and then 6 boys singles, 6 girls singles. If they need all of them, sometimes it can go first to 10 wins. Sometimes it's 9-9, and there's that last match on the court, and the winner determines who wins the team part of it. Some of those matches can go 3 or 4 hours if you get all 19 matches in, because you got to have enough courts, and sometimes they don't have smaller places. State would have enough courts, but it can be a long day at team tennis.
Team tennis is a lot like cross country for runners. They've done a good job through the years of inventing a sport for runners like cross country. It's something that we should always be good at with given our demographics, and something that we are always good at.
Yeah, and they get to play each other, and that was pretty fun last year. And they met in the playoffs, 3rd round, and so it looks like it may happen again this year. The one that draws the most fans is football. Boerne High, let's talk about them. And they've got a new coach, Brett Sawyer. He's been with the program 7 years, though, but Boerne won the region 2 of the last 3 years. They won it as a 4A, lost in the state championship game. Last year, first year is 5A. They make it to the state semis, play in Waco. And the Chargers have had a good run. They won the region in 2019. Haven't been back to that part of it yet, but they're getting there.
It's the only sport that is put in divisions before the playoffs. Everything else is taken to divisions by how you finish. In Division II, 5A, we're in a league where we feel, especially getting to go south, that we can do well again. We've got a tough non-district schedule. Got a new quarterback in Sweeney, who we take that red vest off, and the coaches put up their whistles. I think he's really going to do well. You know, once he's able to run and do things that complement our line and complement him, I think we're going to see great things with him.
Yeah, and he was a Boerne kid. He moved to TMI, and then he's come back. So by the time this show airs, they'll have already played. And they're hosting Piper on Friday night, and that's one of the better programs in the greater San Antonio area. And my friend Roland here, who's sitting pushing all the right buttons to make us sound good, he and I are going to do that game Friday night. So Brett Sawyer, he was with the program 7 years, defensive coordinator. Shea Hendricks got an opportunity he really couldn't pass up. They call him from the SEC and say, hey, how would you like to start coaching for us here at Arkansas? It's an entry-level type job, but it's still coaching in the SEC, right? So hard for him to pass up. The bad news is he took his son with him, who was the top, he's a 4-star recruit, a blue chipper, I guess you could call him, getting a lot of looks nationally. But Brett had come with him when Shea started 7 years ago, and then he was his defensive coordinator. And I know he applied for the job, and it was an easy pick, wasn't it, as the head coach to succeed him?
It was easy. It was a no-brainer. He already had head coaching experience at 2 locations that prepared him, and then he had done a tremendous job here for 7 years working and doing what Coach Hendricks asked him. And so we're very pleased with not only how he's doing as a football coach. Of course, you play games, it's kind of like everybody talking about the Cowboys, culture. Well, yeah, everybody's culture, I hope, is good before the first game.
They have a culture. They don't win, the Cowboys.
Yeah. So it's so funny when I laugh at that and said, oh, they got that. But he's done a tremendous job as a coordinator, too. So I'm just very pleased.
Yeah, and then Blaine Ellis, that champion, he's been there a few years now. He succeeded Coach Kaiser, and he was the defensive coordinator, and you promoted from within. And we actually saw Coach Kaiser the other day at the scrimmage. He's traveling the world now, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
He's retired. And he's a
good retired guy. Blaine was with us 10 years, and this is his 3rd year. It was similar. It was a no-brainer in that essence, too. Coach had done a good job for 10 years. Coach Kaiser and Coach Ellis, young, completely different type of leadership styles, but we are very pleased. And just like you rolled into it at the first of this, how well we are at everything. And Coach Ellis manages that very well.
Well, that is Stan Leech, the Boerne ISD Athletic Director, joining us here on the Boerne Brew. And you mentioned Champion, and both schools have done well, but Champion has won a Lone Star Cup as the best all-around athletic program in the state. And what was that, 2011, somewhere around there?
In 2011. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, and that's a state championship. And I know they count robotics now, and they count this and one-act play and a couple different things and music, band stuff, but still, it wasn't the band that one year or one-act play got y'all a couple points, and that was kind of the difference in winning it?
Well, I tell you what helped us was it was 2011 when we won it. We only won by 2 points. Now, if we had tied, we still would have won it. But softball made the playoffs and got beaten first round, and I went to that game that they had to win. Then we got points for winning the UIL district championship, just district. And so there was, of course, anytime you win something big, there's a lot of side stories. But we beat Waco Midway that year in 2011. But yeah, I'm very proud of that.
Well, in the sport we haven't talked about yet, volleyball, that's well underway. They're already in district play. Volleyball is second year at Boerne High. Coach Stacy Lawrence beginning her second year. She had a lot of success in Massachusetts.
Correct.
And so when you see an application from a coach in Massachusetts, what were you thinking about whether you would hire her? That's a long way away.
Well, we didn't get a resume from Massachusetts. What happened was she was here for spring break. Her brother lives in Bandera.
Okay.
And so, there's always a story behind the story. And she knew Garrett Carr and grew up with Garrett Carr. And Garrett Carr was the assistant principal at North. And it's definitely a case of not what you know, but who you know. And so we had him recommend her. And then we met her during her spring break and were very impressed. Yes, she had won 3 state championships in Massachusetts. And, of course, we can put things in perspective. She probably had the best players, but you have to have the best players to win state championships. And I believe her classification had 50-some-odd in it. Nothing is like when you win a state championship in Texas, it's like winning a national championship. And it really, when we only gave one state championship in volleyball and basketball, it really was a big deal. Now, there's 2 state championships, but it's still big. It still means you're the best out of 125 schools, and it's still a big deal. But she was young. She had proven that she can win when she has good players. And always remember, it's all about players, folks. It's who you play, who they put you with, and how you handle what you're given. And I'm very pleased. She continues to show that she's the right fit for our girls and for Boerne High School and for our district.
And then you got Kelly McDaniel at Champion. I believe she's maybe in her 3rd year or something like that.
She is. She's 1 year. She followed Jessica Tully Mitchell. Mm-hmm. Jessica did a good job, and Kelly came in. She came from East Central.
Right.
She had a great foundation with Alamo Volleyball Club, and so Kelly's done a good job, too. Last year they got second, had a really good team, and just got a bad draw.
They drew the regional champ, ended up being regional champ in the first round.
Just got a bad draw. And a lot of times success has to do, you got to be good, and you got to be very fortunate in your draw, and she wasn't. They've got another good team. They're 2-0. The Greyhounds right now are 1-1, but very pleased with the growth and projection of both teams.
That is Stan Leech, Boerne ISD Athletic Director, joining us here on the Boerne Brew. And you mentioned 2 state champions. This was the first year. They'd done it in football for a while. I think they did it, late 80s, early 90s, something like that?
It's 37 years old in football. That's how we do things in Texas. And 37 years later, we're going to give you what football has. That's what we do. I'm just glad it happened.
Yeah, and I've heard mixed about some coaches like Comfort. They have some problems with it, but what are your thoughts on dividing for example, classification? You divide big school, small school. They do it in football before the season starts, but say volleyball, once the playoffs start, 2 teams go big, 2 teams go small, and so they don't ever see each other again. They go separate brackets, and you have 2 separate state champions. What are your thoughts on that first year and how everything went with all that 2 state titles in each classification?
Well, first of all, I love it, and I like everything about it. It comes from someone that never had it. I may have never won a state championship, but I'd have played for a couple if we had this. And some years I was on committees that this was our number one emphasis for several years. I'm the chair of the Athletic Directors Association for Athletics, and this was one of our big initiatives. I do want to be clear, it's not going to change. Right. It will always be this way. The UIL has, people will make up, next year they're going to do it like they do football. Don't ever say never and always. Never. It's not going to happen because of the travel. And then people will go, well, yeah, it's just, one other thing. The other thing is UIL doesn't want 12 divisions. And if you break everything up, basically you've got 12 classifications.
Right.
They're not going to. There's one thing, 6 classifications. Well, that's too big. Like I was saying, it's like winning a national championship. Now I think we're in a good way where we're still awarding 12 state champions. I'll tell you your proof. Not one of the 12 state champions think this was a bad idea, Kerry.
Yeah.
The only ones that don't like it are the ones. I love every party I got invited to. I don't like the parties I didn't get invited to, so I'm kind of wah about people that complain about it because it's just an excuse. When they have the good teams, and some years it's going to work out for them and some it's not. And yeah, of course they wish it was like football, but the UIL has made it crystal clear it's not happening. They will go to 7A before they go to 12A. And they're not going to go 12A guys. And that's what that is. I also like now the best basketball teams. We don't have a winner and a loser now. We have 2 quality teams winning state championships. And not one, like I said, I talked to a couple of people at one of the 12 state championships in baseball and softball. Not one of them, Kerry, think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Good for
but
them.
No, I think it's wonderful. I think it's, about 37 years too late, but it's something that I like it. Sometimes it works out for you and sometimes it doesn't, but it's given us another state championship in each classification.
Yeah, so when they go separate classifications, they eliminated one of the rounds and basically got rid of the regional tournaments. I guess they can still have them to a degree, but a lot of travel, usually with Boerne ISD, had to go to Corpus, had to go to the Valley for soccer when it was 2 kind of local teams playing each other. How many times did the Boerne girls play Fredericksburg down in Kingsville for the regional champions? I think it was 4 years in a row they played.
Well, you can call the UIL and ask them who is the happiest about no regional tournaments, and they will say my name. They all know that I did not like regional tournaments as a coach, as an athletic director, whatever adjective you want to attach to it. I did not like them. I don't like regional tournaments because you don't get to pick who the referees are. And you're going to a small college and everybody working the game is a physical education student at that college, could care less about being there, and you don't have a crowd. Think about it. You and I, we're playing Fredericksburg 6 times. I don't think I'm exaggerating. Something crazy.
Yeah.
And we get in our car and spend 2 nights in Kingsville knowing we're going to play Fredericksburg on a Saturday afternoon. Well, that's not even common sense. And so, yeah, I love that we don't have regional tournaments. I love it's one less round. I appreciate the opportunity to have an extra state champion.
That was the thing, too, that you mentioned. You have to go to Kingsville, and you're going to make it to the championship. You made it to the championship game in Kingsville. The girls did 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
And then the boys did also 1 year, a couple years. And you're paying hotel stays for 2 nights for the whole team.
We were going up on a Thursday, spending Thursday night.
Friday night.
To get to shoot baskets for 30 minutes. But let's just talk positive. The craziness has ended. And so now if we get in that regional game, We call the opponent, we call a gym, and we get our own referees, and we agree more, and it's a venue that's going to be good for our team, our school, and our fans.
Yeah, I agree. Well, mention the Boerne ISD Hall of Honor. Mention it, Joey Cantu. He's going to be front and center at this Hall of Honor ceremony. We have mentioned a tennis theme. Boerne ISD Hall of Honor ceremony is when? It's in October, I know.
Yeah, it's October 17th, isn't that a Friday?
I believe so, yeah.
And that's when it is. And this is our 16th, Kerry.
Hard to believe.
Oh, it's just wonderful. Northside just had their first. We're 16 years ahead of Northside, and it's funny to see people starting this. Fredericksburg is going to start theirs. Wimberley's going to start theirs, and I'm very proud that this is our 16th. There wasn't any tennis yet. And so we sit around and you look for, swimming's the next void that's done very well. We're very fortunate that all of our decisions are basically no-brainers. We have so many state champions and all-state people and all-state coaches that we're not sitting around discussing if somebody that was all district 3 years in a row should go in. I mean, we're just very fortunate that when we put someone in, it's almost like not if, but when. And you don't want to water it down, and you also want to try to get people while they're still alive. And I know people laugh about that, but these people that name things for people and honor people when they're dead, they're dead. That means they didn't get to do it.
Right.
And that's one of those things that I'm very proud of what you and the committee have done. But tennis, Joey Cantu's got his stamp on everything.
Sure does.
And he's wonderful. Coaching tennis, he's made it look easy, but nothing easy about it. There's about 10 people. The guy at Fredericksburg is wonderful, Coach Randall. But here's the deal. There's just a few people that have the ability to deal with that sport. You've got to be knowledgeable, and you've got to have people skills out of this world. And Coach Cantu and his wife, Kristen, and Coach Stewart and his wife, they just do a tremendous job.
We got Grant Gandy, Cameron Davis, Boerne High, state champs in 08, boys doubles, and then Jared Fellows, Mark Gorham, 2010 state champs in boys doubles at Champion. Then Emily Gorham, and she's married now. I believe her last name's Ritter. She played at state all 4 years, so she at least earned bronze or right around there. And to make it state all 4 years, I believe she made it in all 3 different categories: girls singles, girls doubles, mixed. And
she did it in the second highest classification.
Right.
When she did this, it's like doing it in 5A, and there was 6A. Well, she did it in 4A, so she's a no-brainer. And then anytime you win state, and then the champion Charger team tennis, they got second twice and third, they're no-brainers. It's funny. You'll get an email or something, well, what about so-and-so?
Right. Yep.
And I'll just go, well, first of all, we don't look at anybody inside 10 years. And really, it's almost 15. You wait till they're been graduated. My track coach in college did this when he was AD at Tarleton. And he said something very profound. When you put someone in a Hall of Fame, you want them to be old enough to tear up. And it's funny, he would say, we made a mistake at Tarleton. We'd get people and honor them when they're early 30s, and they would look at everybody and go, what took you so long? And then you put somebody in their 40s and 50s, and they're crying and thanking you and so grateful. And we have found basically the same formula, that you need people to have gone on and done life to come back and go, you know what, that was special, and I appreciate you remember me. I appreciate you even finding my number. But it's funny, the young ones go, hey, what about so-and-so? I mean, they just graduated, and you and I and the committee have had fun with this, and we're very excited about honoring tennis, and that laid a foundation for our program.
We mentioned the individuals and also the teams 08, 09, 010. They all
that's
played.
Incredible.
They all played at state. And Also, as we're getting ready to wrap up here, Stan, we have the Bill Canavan Memorial Benefactor Award. It's Dr. Holcomb.
Oh, he's wonderful. He's been with us over 20 years. I remember walking in the tunnel with me in 2008, and his son, Jack's a 7th grader, and one of our quarterbacks, and then Shaylee, his daughter, graduated last year, was a cheerleader. He and his wife, Michelle, are very important to our community, and Richard's special. He does a lot. I love his personality, and I love his take on things. So we're looking forward to honoring him on the 17th.
And then the ceremony is going to be at Cordillera.
Cordillera the
Ranch.
Clubs at Cordillera, and we're thankful for them. Gina does a great job with that, and Terry, but I'm very thankful. It's something I'm very, very proud of, the legacy that we've been able to show off.
Well, Stan Leech, want to thank you for coming out on the show. 30 minutes has come and gone. Hard to believe it's been that fast, but it's just kind of like the years. It just kind of flies by, right?
Hey, Kerry, we can do this all day.
Yeah.
All day. And with rolling, and it's easy. 30 minutes, I'm just getting warmed up.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
We'll have you back, and we'll talk about the other sports coming up and everything else going on and bringing a lot of stuff we didn't even get to. So we do appreciate you coming on, and thank you out there for listening to the Boerne Brew. We'll talk to you next time.